Before the United States existed, before the Declaration of Independence, before George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, or the Continental Congress, there was a string of 13 British colonies, along the eastern coast of North America. They were British by law, loyal subjects of the Crown, citizens, or were they simply pieces in Britain's vast, imperial machine? This is the question that would define the American Revolution. Who were these colonists? And what did their world look like before taxes, acts, and protests ignited a nation? To understand independence, we first need to explore why Britain colonized America, who the 13 colonies were, and what life was like before the first sparks of rebellion. In the 16th and 17th centuries, global power was measured by land, trade, and naval strength. Spain had already claimed vast territories in Central and South America. France controlled large portions of Canada and the Mississippi Valley. Britain refused to be left behind. Colonization was primarily economic. In 1607, Britain established its first permanent settlement at Jamestown, Virginia. The early years were brutal. Starvation, disease, and conflict with native tribes threatened survival. Then came tobacco, a crop perfectly suited to Virginia's soil. European demand skyrocketed, and suddenly, the struggling colony became profitable. Investors in London realized America was no longer a distant experiment. It was a financial engine. Raw materials like tobacco, timber, furs, rice, indigo, and later cotton flowed from the colonies to Britain. Manufactured goods returned to the colonies, ensuring that wealth and power flowed primarily to London. Religion also played a significant role. Groups like the Pilgrims and Puritans sought freedom from persecution in England. In 1620 they founded Plymouth Colony. Others followed. Quakers in Pennsylvania. Catholics in Maryland. Their search for religious autonomy helped Britain expand culturally, politically, and economically in the New World. Socially, England faced rising poverty and overcrowding. The colonies offered a solution: new land, new opportunities, and a way to relieve domestic pressures while expanding Britain's empire. Strategically, the coastline gave Britain naval and trade advantages. Ports like Boston, New York, and Charleston became vital links in the Atlantic trade network. Colonies were not just settlements, they were instruments of empire. By the mid-18th century, 13 colonies stretched along the eastern seaboard, each unique in geography, economy, and culture. The New England colonies. Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire had rocky soil that limited large-scale farming. So, shipbuilding, fishing, and trade dominated. Society was tight-knit and religiously devout. The Middle Colonies. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware were fertile and earned the nickname breadbasket. They were ethnically and religiously diverse, and commerce and urban centers like Philadelphia thrived. The Southern Colonies. Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia were dominated by agriculture. Tobacco, rice, and indigo plantations relied heavily on enslaved African labor. Wealth and power were concentrated in the hands of planters. Despite differences, all 13 colonies were linked by language, trade, and allegiance to Britain. Yet each developed its own identity, local assemblies, and cultural traditions. A seed of self-governance that would later fuel the Revolution. Before the heavy taxation policies of the 1760s, colonial life was relatively stable and often prosperous. Britain practiced what historians call salutary neglect, maintaining loose oversight as long as the colonies remained profitable. Colonists enjoyed access to land, economic opportunity, and local self-governance through colonial assemblies, with social mobility far greater than in Europe. By the mid-1700s over 2 million people lived in the colonies. Cities like Boston, Philadelphia, and New York were vibrant trade hubs. Colonists elected local representatives, passed local laws, and managed internal affairs. In essence, they were learning self-governance without even realizing it. Many still considered themselves loyal British subjects, fighting alongside British troops in the French and Indian War against France and its native allies. They were not rebels, not yet. But the war changed everything. Britain emerged victorious but deeply in debt. Maintaining troops in the colonies was expensive, and London concluded the colonies should help pay the costs through direct taxation. To the colonists this felt like a betrayal. After decades of autonomy, suddenly the crown sought to control their lives, and their pockets. This shift from self-governance to direct taxation planted the seeds of revolution. By the 1760s the stage was set. 13 colonies, each with unique identities, economies, and governments, were being asked to pay taxes without representation. Loyalty, prosperity, and British identity had defined them, but now the question of freedom loomed. And that is where the story of independence begins. The question that would define a nation, subjects, or citizens. Subscribe to the channel to watch the next episode.